Hello everyone and welcome. Thank you very much for joining me for this webinar on the Navisworks Clashes tool inside the advanced PowerPack for Autodesk Revit. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Simon Dickinson. I'm the BIM Technical Manager for Greytec here in the UK. I've been with Greytec now 19 years. I've been an advocate of BIM for probably well over 18 years now. I'm an Autodesk certified professional, and I'm also an Autodesk certified instructor. If you've got any questions regarding the PowerPack that you want answering, feel free to drop me an email and ask me the questions at simon.dickinson@greytec.com. Alternatively, there will be a questions and answer session at the end of this webinar, so feel free to put anything in the questions box. Also, feel free to join me on LinkedIn at sdickinson1. And for those of you that don't know who Greytec are, we've been around now for 30 plus years. Our head offices are in Paris, and we operate now in 11 countries across the globe, and we have over 48 offices. We're a healthy, profitable company. We are constantly expanding our business and have grown quite dramatically in the last 4 years. And we are now one of the largest Autodesk partners in the world. From a staffing point of view, we do have a lot of staff, but we are predominantly R&D technical consultants. So we've got 100 R&D programmers in our Romanian office, where basically the software, quite a lot of our software is developed, including our PowerPack, or the PowerPacks, should I say. We have, 200 plus industry consultants, and we're all focused on sort of delivery and outcomes. So, try and make sure that you guys get a lasting investment and a fast return on your investment in the software that you purchase, whether that be our software or Autodesk software. We are customer centric. We've been nothing without our customers, so we really do like to look after our customers. We've got 98% excellent and good feedback for our support that we deliver. Over 50,000 support cases per year that we look at, and we're currently delivering 3,500 plus training courses as well every year, and that doesn't include the consultancy that we do as well. As a company, we try to split ourselves up into what we call our 4 pillars, which is our create, simulate, fabricate, and manage. So from a create point of view, this is where we're using the software for creating our designs. Whether this is from the BIM point of view now, which is where I spend most of my time, but also from a mechanical point of view as well. And in all cases, regardless of the software that you're using, a lot of our Autodesk products, we can enhance the use of these products with the Greytec PowerPacks. Currently, we have PowerPacks for Revit, as you know, because this is what we're covering in this webinar. We also have one for Inventor, one for Vault, and one for Advanced Steel. Okay, and in all cases, our PowerPacks are designed to add extra functionality to the software, whether that is a feature, a new functionality that the software can't do, or whether it is a streamlining of a function that already exists that basically gives you a much easier way to use the software. Okay, we then have our simulate part of our business, and we have various technologies for doing analysis. For instance, our advanced design package, which is structural analysis for both steel and concrete structures. And also within advanced design, we've got bidirectional links back to Revit. We then have our fabricate. We've got a product called Advanced Workshop. This is ideally suited for anyone that is doing off-site fabrication, and it helps us to get our fabrication drawings deliverables through to the finished fabricated product on the shop floor and then out for site delivery. And then finally, we have our manage pillar, and this is where we look at how we manage all the data that is being produced in any of our other pillars. So we have a product called OpenTree, which is our document management system. And basically the document management system will talk to any external CDE. So whether you're using for projects, obviously BIM 360, this will allow us to communicate externally from our internal document management system with OpenTree. So let's have a look at our Navisworks Clashes. So here is our ribbon with 70 plus tools currently within the PowerPack, and we have this new tool called Navisworks Clashes. Okay, and within inside there's a little drop down, and then what we do is we have access to the tool itself. So the first thing that we need to do when we use the tool is we need to have our Navisworks Clash report. If any of you use Navisworks, don't worry if you don't. I'm going to show you functionality in Navisworks in a second. But basically, we need to generate an XML report out of Navisworks. There's a couple of different ways we can produce reports on clashes in Navis, and one of them being the XML. Once we've pulled them in, it will actually give us a list of all the clashes that were discovered in that clash report. And just like you would see inside of Navis, Navis produces thumbnails of where that problem is. Now, it's all well and good is this, and you know, we can start to see that, you know, that little bit of ductwork there is clashing with that column, but sometimes it's not easy to find. It's not easy to see where that is. When you get that report, we've got some information there. Look, so we've got it's on grid G10 at level 1, and you know, there's some information about where it is, but sometimes it can be a little bit of a minefield in very large, complicated projects to actually understand where that clash actually happened. And that's basically what our little tool does. So it's a very, very simple tool, but what it will allow us to do is it will allow us to highlight within our model exactly where that problem is, and then we can start to address the issues and fix them within our BIM workflows, and then we can then obviously reclash, and we can start to see how well the models are getting fixed and moving forward. Currently we've got like there's a little red sphere in there. We can do a few things. There's a couple of different styles in the style editor that we can control, and we can start to look at, you know, how that's going to look, what color we want to look, etc. Okay, so let's pop over to Revit to start with. So here we have a structural model. Yep, so this is the structural engineer's model. And as you can see, we've also got linked in here the mechanical model. Okay, so you know, there's various things we can do. We could obviously look around, we can make sure everything fits. I can already see a bit of an issue here. Yeah. But this is where obviously from a federated model and a coordination point of view, this is where we can use Navisworks. So the first thing we need to do, pop across into Navisworks and let's run our clash detection in here. So let me just go to here. I just want to append a couple of models. Let's just go into here to my data set. Let's change this to some Revit files because it's Revit that we're working with, not IFC today. And here we can see in here I've got a structures model and I've got a mechanical model. I'm just going to load these both in. Okay, for those of you who don't realize what's happening in the background, this is now converting my Revit models into what we call an NWC file, which are the cache files that Navisworks uses. So it shouldn't take too long. These models aren't massively big, so we'll just give this a couple of seconds while it's just reading the files, pulling these in, using the shared coordinates that we've got set up within our Revit files. And it will pull these in. It seems to be going a little bit slowly, but it will speed rapidly up. Here we go. So it'll fly through this. It's now extracting the geometry. It'll then move on to the properties. So if there's any additional properties that have been set up in your Revit file, it will have them loaded in as well. So we'll get these loaded across. As I can see, it's now flying through that. That's the first one in. That's the more complicated one. Now it's doing the structures one, which is probably doesn't have as many elements in as the mechanical one. There's a lot of ductwork in this, and we can pull this in. Then what we'll do is we will launch the Clash Detective. Or before that, we will set up some search sets so that we can do some intelligent clashing in here. So one of the nice things about the clash detection inside of Navis, we can do interference checking inside of Revit, but a clash in Revit is basically two objects that occupy the same space, which is technically what a clash is, but we'll start to do some slightly more intelligent. So as you can see, here's our model, and we can start to see what's going on in here. So what I'm going to do is I want to clash all the supply air and the return air systems, because I've got pipe work in here as well. We've got quite a plant room there. I'm not too fussed about that. I want to just narrow down my clashes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to find some items, and I'm just going to use this find items dialog box. Let me just open this up so we can see what's going on. And I'm going to create a new category, and what I'm interested in, I am interested in the system type, where the system classification equals supply air. And I'm also interested, I'm just going to say or, put an or condition in. I'm also interested in anything where the system type classification equals return air. Okay. And I can say find all, and here we go. It's found all the items. It's highlighted in blue in the background. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to save this as what we call a search set. Okay, so all supply on return air. So we call this a search set. And an interesting thing that you can do with search sets is I can export that. So the next time I want to do that search, I can import it. I don't have to recreate these search sets all the time. It's a really nice way of working inside of Navisworks. So here is what we call the Clash Detective. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a Clash report on here. Now what we could do is I'm just going to create a new test, and we'll just call it, give it a name, call it duct versus steel. We'll call it SS/R v steel. Okay, so let's give it a name. Okay. Now what I need to do is tell it what I want to clash against. So I mentioned that I'm going to use my sets. So I want to check the supply air, and I'm going to check that against a whole other structures. A couple of settings that are quite useful as well inside of here, inside of Navis. We've got the ability to clash surfaces against surfaces, lines, so just lines, arcs and circles against surfaces, and the three dots are for point clouds, so we can actually check point clouds. I want to check for objects that clash with each other, so that's going to be fine. And here's where we can set a tolerance. So I'm saying that anything that clashes within 20 mil of each other is not going to be an issue. Yeah, and I'm going to run the test. Okay, so basically we've now got someone that's come in and we've started to run this test, and as you can see we have got various different clashes, and it's taken me to them. We can see it's found these, look, but we've got all of these different clashes, and there's the one from my PowerPoint. So then what we need to do is we need to create a report, and this is now the key to this. So we need to create a report, because the person that might be doing all these clashes could be the main contractor that's doing the coordination, and we need to send this back. So as you can see, there's different file formats, and the one that I'm interested in is this XML format. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the report. Okay, I can specify where it's going to go, so let's stick it in my PowerPack folder in here and just hit save. Okay, so that is everything I need to do. We've now got that clash information. We've done the clashes, that's been reported. What I could have done at this point as well is, we can actually start to assign these problems to somebody. So we can look at them and assign the issues to the person that's responsible for fixing that. Okay, so if we now go back here, into Revit. Okay, so here is our file. Now what we want to do is, we've now been sent that XML file. So I can now come into here and I can now Navisworks Clash import. Okay, so we go into here and it will now say, right, so the link document, yeah, we've got the link document that's in there, so it understands the links that we were relating to. Then I can click where it says name. Yeah, so the Clash file up, so we can go to here. Come on, where's me? Would actually help if it give me my import window. There we go. Yeah, so we click on the plus button there, and then we can go to my computer. So C into my PowerPack. Okay, and in here is my XML file. Yeah, so this is my Clash file that I've created. So I can go open. Okay, and as you can see now, if I just expand this down, here is all the clashes. Look, so this is the same Clash report that we were viewing inside of Navisworks. And if I click on them, look, it is giving me the little thumbnail. Yeah, okay. So we can now start to see what these clashes are. What I can also do, and this is now where it's a nice little simple tool, is this, but if I just move that to the side, if I click on here, look, zoom and center, it is now shown me where that one is. And each time I click on these, look, so these two clashes are literally, you can see it's highlighting the same place. It's the same, it's just top and the bottom of the objects. There's this one, look, and it will actually start to highlight where I could just go down. I could click on each one of these. So we could have this on a second screen. So we're starting to see exactly where they are, look, but at the same time, it's giving me a visual representation of where my problems are. Okay. So what I could then do is, you know, we can click OK in that, and it will leave these objects in here. So it will leave these analytical analysis points in here, which is quite nice. Yeah, we can clear them later on. Yeah, so I can clear all my Clash points if I want to, but we can start to see where these are. And of course, that then gives me the opportunity to start to see what the issues are, and we can start to look at how to fix this. And you know, one of the things I could do here is we could do a fix on that. Okay, and there we go. Yeah, we can then start to look at doing the repairs and what we need to do to fix this. Yeah, so I think I've actually put the wrong cellular beam in there. Let's just change that to the, let's try an RB2. There we go. Yeah, slightly different spacing, but we can then start to fix this. I could then hit the save button. We can make changes in here, and of course then we can send this back to our Navisworks files here. Yeah, so let's just do a file save on here. Let's call it untitled, it's fine. Let's do a new, and then let's just reopen that untitled. This will then reread the files, update where necessary. So we'll leave that to read that in, and I'll come back in a second and I'll redo the check again. So it's a very simple tool that we've got here, but it just makes it a lot easier to find where these issues are in relation to our Revit models. So I'll load that in. One of the things you can do is we do have something called switchback as well between Navis and Revit, but that assumes that the person that's doing the clash detection also has the original models, which unfortunately usually in the workflow of where we share our models ready for someone else to do the coordination is not going to give us access to that. Okay, so it's just something to watch out for. So here we now have the model with that change in look. And of course, the whole process carries on again. We can do this. I can update all the tests, yeah. And as we can see there, 2 issues have been resolved, which is perfect. So I can go into there, look, and it will now show me the resolved ones, okay? We can then produce another report. So let's just write that report. Let's call it V1. Come back to here. Let's do a reset view. Oh, sorry, helps if we do the clear clash points. There we go. And of course, I can now come back in, go into my Navisworks Clash. Let's add in the V2, or V1, sorry. Okay. And here we have the results again. As you can see now, it's now removed the 2 that we didn't need before, okay? Leaving the other ones in, okay? So we can start to see all the clashes, but here we have, sorry, the 2 that I've resolved, look. So now we can start to see the ones that have been fixed as well. So we can start to see, it might be somebody else has fixed these problems, but we can see that things have been resolved. And then within our model, we can start to see where they are. Really nice, simple little tool that can save you a lot of time when trying to work out where these issues that have been detected have actually been discovered. So if anyone's got any questions on that tool, feel free to pop them into the questions box. If you want me to answer them offline, then feel free to drop me an email. In the meantime, if anyone's typing, thank you ever so much for watching. Do remember to follow us on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and particularly on our YouTube channels, both the .co.uk and the .com YouTube channels. So thank you ever so much for watching. Hope that's been useful, and I look forward to seeing you all very, very shortly on one of our next webinars. Until then, stay safe.
Greytec.